watu watatu. Kama serikali hatupendi mambo kama haya yafanyike hata kidogo. Nasema kama serikali, kwa sababu alikufa kwa njia ya risasi, haijalishi risasi ilitoka namna gani, lakini alikufa kwa njia ya risasi. Tunasema pole sana Mtio Bising, hakikishia kwamba wale maofisa wetu wote ambao wanatumwa kwenda kufanya kazi katika sehemu mbalimbali za taifa hili, ikiwemo Bonde la Ufa, wanakuja kufanyia wananchi kazi. Hakuna ile ofisa yote ambaye anatumwa hapa kuja kuwanyanyasa watu.
Mimi nimesikia Mandogo na Mohamed Amin wanasema tu discipline hapa. Lakini mimi ni nani nikatae amri ya watu ya Nandi? Wataenda wote. Ofisa ya hapa muanze kufunga mizigo. Kwa kweli ni karibu peleka ile ingine nyumbani. Ili hata request yenu mnasema ati waondoke Nandi tu ni waondoke Rift Valley.
To the coastal region now, where chaos erupted at Gongoni Market in Kilifi County as residents flouted COVID-19 containment measures by turning up in large numbers and without masks. Now angered by the residents' carelessness in following COVID-19 guidelines, Kilifi Governor Amason Kingi threatened to suspend the launch of the market. Kingi, who tried to enforce the guidelines in the meeting, further warned the residents about maintaining high levels of discipline in following the health guidelines. He insisted that reopening of the economy by the government depended rather on the behavior change by all Kenyans.
Hamtakikani kutangamana vile mmetangamana hivi leo. Kwa hivyo ikiwa kuja kwangu ndio matangamana, nitaingia gari niende. Sitaki kuondoka hapa niache wagonjwa hapa Gongoni. Kama mnataka tuendelee, kila mtu apatiane mita moja mtu mwenzake.
Mita moja jamaa.
Na kule juu mwafikiria mwezi pata corona. Kanuni ya kwanza ya kujikinga dhidi ya maambukizi ya ugonjwa wa corona ni kutangamana na wenzako. Saa hii ukiangalia kuanzia ile pembe ya soko mpaka kwa mwisho, vile tumekaa ni kama hakuna corona. Hii ni hatari kubwa. Hii ni hatari kubwa ndugu zanguni. Ndio maana nilipoingia hapa nikasema kwamba ikiwa huwezi kukaa mbali na mwenzako, heri urudi nyumbani. Masharti makali ambayo tumeleta kama serikali, hali ya uchumi imedidimia. Viwanda tumefunga, biashara tumezifunga, hoteli zimefungwa, restaurants zimefungwa, njaa imekithiri ndani ya Kilifi na Kenya mzima. Sasa mazungumzo yameanza kati ya serikali za kaunti na serikali ya kitaifa kuona ni vipi tunaweza kufungua uchumi. Ni vipi tunaweza kufungua uchumi wa Gongoni, uchumi wa Magarini, uchumi wa Kilifi, uchumi wa Pwani, uchumi wa Kenya. Tunataka kufungua mahoteli yetu, tunataka kufungua viwanda vyetu, tunataka kufungua restaurants zetu. Lakini kufungua uchumi si huja. Huja ni nidhamu za kibinafsi.
Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Union members from South Rift and North Rift regions have warned governors of dire consequences if they will influence the removal of a proposal by health practitioners in the BBI report to establish a National Health Commission in the country. The commission will oversee all matters pertaining to the health sector. Speaking in Eldoret, the North Rift Branch Secretary General Dr. Ismail Ayabe and his South Rift Branch counterpart, Dr. Bimji Atelier have said they will mobilize health workers to boycott work if the Commission is not given priority in the BBI report.
Without Health Service Commission, we will deploy upon all our members of the union and all the members of the public not to support. So our support in the BBI, which is ongoing, is on a condition that we need the Health Service Commission to be with it. And the governors should stop distracting the wananchi and distracting other healthcare workers on saying that they're able to manage healthcare. We have also learned that since devolution, the governors have been employing doctors or other healthcare workers based on nepotism. They pick people that are close to them while they put to work. They don't really employ based on merit and everything. And even given that situation, there's a lot of also bullying that happens with the counties.
Recent reports reaching our desks is that there's a group of political class, especially the governors, wants to expunge the Health Service Commission from the BBI reports. We are saying that for us healthcare workers, Health Service Commission is a prescription. The challenges the health staff have been facing across the country. So if there is no Health Service Commission in the BBI, we are going to stay home so that we leave this country to see who can really manage health, because they are treating us like we don't matter. So what we are saying is, as health workers, if there is no Health Service Commission in the BBI reports, we will stop working and we'll stay home until they reinstate the Health Service Commission to the BBI reports.
Now, the Interfaith Council has worked out and developed a working plan that will be observed in the phased reopening of religious activities. The Council is, however, calling upon all Kenyans to present their views before drafting a final report on July 2nd, which will be later presented to the President for further deliberations.
Tayari tumewasiliana na tukawa na mikutano ya kusikiza maoni ya viongozi wa makanisa Jumatano iliyopita, na tukawa na zaidi ya viongozi 400 ambao walihudhuria na tukapata maoni yao. Kwa sasa tuko katika kazi hii ya kuangalia hayo maoni yote, kuyaunda kwa njia ambayo sasa tunaweza toa zile zinaitwa guidelines, na hizo guidelines ndizo twaomba kwa wakati huu. Kamati inaendelea kufanya kazi, tukingoja labda wiki ijayo tutaweza kumaliza na kuweza kupatiana draft ya hizi guidelines.
Now, over 20 young girls under the age of 18 years from Kagundoini ward in Kandara, Murang'a, are pregnant or have recently given birth. This was revealed yesterday when Ahadi Trust Kenya Foundation had gone to Kagundoini to issue foodstuff and clothing to the expectant minors, targeting about 10, only to be surprised by the large number that turned up. And in an interview, most of the minors agree to have been in a relationship with young men above 18 years who have impregnated them. Anti-Jiga crusader Stanley Kamau, alias Kamau Wandutu, warned chiefs against arbitrating defilement cases in their jurisdictions. Kamau maintains that all defilement cases must be allowed to go through the whole prosecutorial steps in courts to ensure justice to the minors and to act as lessons to potential offenders.
Those acts, and I'm asking the provincial administration, the chiefs especially, and everybody else who is entrusted to take care of these young children, to make sure that no child is victimized. We need to speed up the prosecution for those who have been able to commit those acts. I've talked to several mothers and several of the guardians, and one of the reasons why they are not taking action is because the cases are taking too long in court. They are taking so long that by the time the cases are finalized, the teenagers or the young girls are already in secondary school, some are already married, and they feel it's more stigmatizing when you have a case going for so long, especially for these young children.
Now, the perennial relief food program for residents of MBEERE South will soon be a thing of the past following the construction of nearly 1,000 water pans in the area. The water pans are expected to enable farmers engage in irrigation and agriculture all year round.
Cecily Kariuki, the cabinet secretary in charge of water, during an inspection tour of water projects in MBEERE South, has said her ministry together with the Embu County government have concluded how completion of water projects will be fast-tracked. Kariuki said the water projects going on in MBEERE South are aimed at tackling perennial problems of food insecurity in the region.
Weza kulima pale vyakula na mambo ya food security kwa boma na kwa community ipatikane, food and nutrition security.
Particularly citing the Mukua irrigation water project in Mbeti South with an initial funding of 60 million Kenya shillings. The CS did the groundbreaking for the project Friday. The project will benefit over 20,000 households upon completion. CS Kariuki also noted that 267 million Kenya shillings Gashoka cluster irrigation project, which will be handed over to the community next month after fully completion, will benefit about 1,000 households in Mwea ward.
Nimefurahi kwa vile huo mradi umebakia 2% pekee kumaliza, kumaanisha ya kwamba mwezi ujao huu mradi nao tutakuwa tunarejesha kwa wakulima ndio waendelee na kilimo pale.
She said more water projects in MBEERE South are in the pipeline. 600 water pans have already been excavated and 400 others will be done in July. Additionally, the CS said 4 mega dams projects which are proposed to be constructed in Embu are still on. Dushi Dam is one of the proposed mega dams, and the CS says its design is done and is now waiting for funding.
130 million shillings kwa water pans. Kwa hivyo hizi ndio hela ambazo tutatumia kusaidia wakulima ndio waweze kulima na mambo ya vyakula iwe si mambo ambayo itakuwa shida kwa wale wakulima tena.
However, the CS also noted that the government will soon review anti-COVID-19 protocols for contractors, requiring them to recall their staff and organize them on a day and night shifts. Mwige William, TV47, Embu County.
It is a few weeks after Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka signed a working agreement with the Jubilee Party. Now, Transport CAS WAVINYA NDETI has come out to support the move. She said the move is for the betterment of the Kamba community and Kenya as a whole. WAVINYA, together with Matungulu DCC Mohamed Abbas, chiefs and their assistants from the entire Matungulu sub-county, donated foodstuff to the less fortunate.
Niseme Kalonzo hakuingia hapo kwa sababu ya jamii ya Wakamba wote. Kalonzo aliingia hapo kwa sababu ya Wakenya. Tukue na umoja kama Wakenya, tufanye kazi na rais ndio watu wetu waweze kufanya nini? Kusaidika. Wache kuchukua hii swala ya Kalonzo ati alienda kuuza kabila yake. Kalonzo ni kiongozi wa nchi ya Kenya wa jamani. Na kama anapenda nchi ya Kenya lazima afanye na mheshimiwa rais. Ndio watu wa Kenya wote wapate amani na wasaidike. Kwa hivyo hizo mimi nakwambia ni siasa duni. As we are not looking at that, lazima tuangalie the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture? This country of ours. What do we want for Kenya? We want peace and stability. Now and even after elections. And for us to do that, we have to work together. We all have to work together as a team with the president.
It is now time for us to take a short break. When we come back, we have more stories lined up for you. Do not go anywhere. Thank you so much for staying with Newsfeed. My name is Tracy Mokami, and now to Rwanda, where journalists and media practitioners are set to get free legal representation when faced with lawsuits concerning their work. This is in accordance to a deal signed on June 25th between Rwanda Media Commission and the Legal Aid Forum. Our correspondent from Kigali, Rwanda, Diana Iriza, has more details.
So besides legal representation, the Legal Aid Forum signed this deal with the Rwanda Media Commission to support the Rwanda Media Commission in so many other ways, including self-regulation mechanism and complaint handling mechanism to enhance justice here in Rwanda. So we are now joined by the Executive Director, Mr. Andrews Kananga, to briefly talk to us on what this whole deal signed is all about. Thank you so much, sir, for having this interview with us.
Thank you very much, TV47, for being here.
Yes, so can you briefly tell us, are journalists in Rwanda getting into legal issues lately? Is that the reason as to why this deal is being signed?
Absolutely, and it's not of late. Obviously, during COVID-19, when the lockdown started, we saw the surging of more cases. But even previously, we've had a lot of journalists who were arrested for a number of reasons. The law enforcement will tell you they contravened some provisions of the law, which could be true. But actually what prompted us to have that partnership with RMC is the long-term relationship we've had with them, because they've been sending cases of journalists here. So currently we have about 7 cases that we're handling that were referred to us by individual journalists, but also RMC itself. So we decided, we thought this is a problem, because as frontline defenders, that's how we consider journalists. We needed to do something about their legal protection. They're protected by international law. Our own laws protected them, but we think this is really a very important profession, that our work as a legal aid organization would also be geared towards assisting them, especially in advising them. We will not be doing litigation only, but we also have a package for them, legal advisory services for investigative journalists who want to cover stories, more sensitive stories, and then they could come to us. They could approach our lawyers to look into the law. What happens if I put out this article? Is it contravening the Constitution or other laws? That's one package. But the other package, in case we have a journalist who is arrested doing his work, we are very much linking the legal assistance we are giving to their profession, not as individual Rwandans or anyone working in Rwanda, but we want to look at them within the lens of them working, and they need to be legally protected, because media, as you agree with me, is an important sector that most of us rely on to get information. So we thought this is really very important. We are bringing them in addition to other services we provide to different groups, refugees, generally vulnerable Rwandans. So we thought it's really a group, it's a sector we should also be trying to help. We have seen this as an issue as the Legal Aid Forum, and that's why we're investing. We are setting up this special legal support for journalists. We are also working with other institutions. We are working with the UNESCO, we are working with the European Union to set up this fund to promote freedom of expression, but also access to information rights by journalists. So it's really very important that we help journalists, and it's something we've started working on way back in 2015, and finally we are glad that we have secured some funding to operationalize what we are doing. We know the environment within which journalists are working in. Something very important has also come to attention. Although most of the time they are accused of not abiding by the law, we also have the other side of other stakeholders who don't understand the work of journalists as being important to our society. So we are engaging different stakeholders. We're engaging the investigators, we're engaging the whole criminal justice chain, including courts. So among other things that we'll be doing is also taking the awareness also to the judiciary, for them to know how do they handle cases involving journalists. Obviously, we know they have good knowledge of law, but it's an emerging sector in Rwanda, pretty the kind of journalism we want to see compared to what you used to have is really they must be very professional. Sometimes they are caught up in minor issues that we think if we had our legal advice, if we had trainings offered to them, if we had this kind of bringing them together and trying to identify some of the issues, especially those they always collide with. Yeah.
And still in Rwanda, activists and victims of rape and defilement have welcomed the decision by the government to establish a sex offenders registry. The activists say the move is a positive step towards curbing the rising number of rape and defilement cases, Diana Iriza reports.
Rwandan Public Prosecution Authority (NPPA) has started the process to establish a national registry of all individuals convicted for rape or defilement. The Ministry for Justice requested the Prosecutor General to leverage existing electronic platforms to get the registry up and running as soon as possible. As explained by the Ministry of Justice, the registry will be open to the public and it will help law enforcement and justice to track offenders and contribute whatever background information is required about a particular individual for particular administrative or legal reasons.
Despite the laws that we have, despite the policies that we have that are trying so much to prevent and to respond to gender-based violences, but it's still widespread. We still have many reported cases of defilements, of rape, and of femicides, and so it is a big problem, even though there are programs in place, but I think we still have a lot to do. If you look at the numbers, and remembering that these are only cases that are reported, so we also have situations of things that happen but are not reported. So it is a serious problem.
Rwandans have recently taken to social media to criticize members of parliament, particularly women, for being silent on the continuous rise of rape and defilement cases in Rwanda.
Well, I was raped at the age of 16 by a former schoolmate, who's brother to, my best friend. Yeah, so after it happened, same thing with what I just shared. I wasn't able to report it because I felt like no one would believe me, and so I kept it to myself, and I had to deal with it on my own. Yeah.
Personally, I did not experience anything related to sexual assault, but I have a sibling who was raped. When we were young, I had a house help who was very close to my sibling. He would rape her every now and then. She would cry quite often and we had no idea why. Later on, we found out that she was getting raped by the house help. We didn't know what action to take after that. She was very young, about 4 years old. According to official statistics, 17,849 underage girls in Rwanda were victims of sexual assault and got impregnated in 2016 alone. The number slightly eased to 17,337 in 2017 before jumping to 19,832 in 2018. Diana Iriza, Kigali, Rwanda.
And to the world of sports, where Sevilla blew away the chance